go to the sports hotline and welcome in a good friend to the locker room, Steve Javie. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Billy, what's going on today, pal?
Long time no hear.
Yeah, I know. We got to get together soon, man.
I told you, I said we got to get down to Charlie's, you and I, and maybe bring Mary Ellen. I'll bring my wife, and we'll hang out.
That sounds good. That's my favorite place down here, man. Charlie's is great.
All right, Steve, I know you've been busy. You're an analyst at ESPN. You're doing the games. Before we talk about the specific changes in the rules or some of the rules, Steve, the last 9/10 of a second in the championship game, I mean, it took the celebration away for me.
Yeah, I know.
Was that necessary, Steve?
No, it's not necessary. I agree. I agree with you, Billy. It isn't necessary. I mean, that's just too long a period of time, man. Too long.
Steve, the changes that I want to talk to you about are calls on personal fouls at the end of the game. As a referee, I mean, we talked about this when we had the referee roundtable. It was you, Bob McElwee, and Curry Frazier. And you guys got a chance to express yourself as former officials in each individual sport. I'm sure you don't like this.
No, well, you know what, Billy? I think what they're trying to do, believe it or not, they're trying to make it, trying to make it perfect, which is not going to be, but they try to make it easier on the referees. I think these changes coming in now, as I'm digesting them, for the most part, first of all, I have to remember, it's only for a year trial period here. They're going to try it out and see what happens.
Okay.
But I really believe some of these are going to be pretty good. If you read in there about they're going to have a person sitting at the table who's going to actually expedite the play a little more, because instead of the officials on the court having to go over to look at the replay and get instant feedback from the replay center, these people hired by the league are going to be there and will give the referees walking over to the table the results right away. 2 or 3 point field goal, whether the foul happened prior to the shot. There's a couple things that really expedite the game. Now, the part that I am little suspect with is this one challenge with regard to a personal foul called on your team. If you look on if you look on the new rule change, they say the coach can challenge a call that is called on his team, a personal foul, a violation that's called on his team, or a basket interference or goaltending called on his team. 3 of the 4 I'm okay with. The calling of the personal foul, Billy, is the one that gets me, because that becomes subjective. I mean, there was a lot of calls in the course of a game that 2 referees who referee in the NBA could disagree on. Like,
right.
One might say that's not enough contact, and another might say, no, I think it is a foul. So you could have this happening, because what's going to happen, the crew chief on the court will make that decision once the coach challenges, saying he doesn't believe it was a foul or believes it was a foul, whatever it may be. So the subjectivity of it, Billy, gets to me a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
Hey, Steve, it's Scott McKay here. You were known as a quick triggered kind of a referee, and I'm always I'm a coach myself for 25 years, and I like guys that make decisions right away. Do you feel that benefited you, knowing that you were pretty sure of what the call was going to be right away, and you made that decision right away instead of thinking about it a little bit,
or have somebody looking over your shoulder?
Right.
Well, yeah. The thing is, with this. Plays happen. When I'm at the replay center now, even when in the last 25 years when I was working in the league, when I look from the replay center now, first of all, I can't believe that I even actually refereed the game. That's how quick it is. And there are plays that happen when I'm at the replay center. I look on the replay 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I still can't decide whether it's a foul or not. But when you're in that moment as a referee, that's your job. You have to make those split-second decisions. And it actually becomes almost like kind of second nature to you. The game is very, very fast, but when you're refereeing the game and it's into your moment, it actually kind of slows down for you.
We're talking with Steve Javie, former NBA official. Now he's an analyst for ESPN, calling the games. Steve, when we had that roundtable, that's what you said, the human element. You guys are on the court, you get the feel of the game. You have the flow. When you go to the replay, like you said, the video could be a little distorted. Still might not get the right call.
Yeah, and of course, the video is going to show you much different angles, too, with regard to the referee just has that one angle that he's calling it from. That's where it can be helpful at times. There's no doubt about it. But, again, I want to get back to this subjectivity, and I'm going to relate it to the NFL coming up, too, Billy. The NFL being able to, I guess the replay official can trigger a replay on pass interference. I mean, I think they're really going down a slippery slope here because, again, one referee on the field might think it's pass interference. There's another referee in the booth who's making that decision, might sit there and say it's not pass interference. Once we get into that, I think there's going to be more debate about that on Monday morning than there was,
Yeah, right.
Again, we all remember that play in the championship game with New Orleans.
Yeah.
We all remember football. Well, Billy, try to think about this. We've been watching sports our whole lives. When was the last time that we all agreed that that one play was kicked? I mean, this is the time I can remember in 50 years that 100% of the people said it should have been a foul. Most of the time, 50% say, yeah, it's a foul, 50% says no. So the NFL, to me, is changing a rule or an interpretation because of one play in 50 years. And I just don't like going down that slippery slope, even with the NBA now, of having a challenge on a call that's a judgment call, because two professional officials can have two different opinions and be right, really, at the same time.
I totally agree with you.
I mean, Steve, we can have people look at facts with unemployment rates and things like that. Two people can look at the same facts and come up with two different explanations for it.
Right. Some people think Billy's decent looking, and there's most of the people that wear glasses. No, but
well, I don't think that's debatable, Scott.
Right. Hey, Steve, Billy and I are both good friends with Kerry Frazier also, and you got to meet him in the round table. But Kerry's one thing that he said that he did over his career was that he kind of, I don't want to say befriended people, but he got close to know the players. He had a relationship with the players, and he felt that helped him over his career when making a call or doing stuff. Did you do the same thing kind of in the NBA? Did you kind of open up those doors for those guys to feel like you're one of them and help you in your career?
Yes and no, Scott. Yes and no. I think early in your career, it's easy to say that when you're a 25 or 30-year vet. When you're the first couple of years coming in the league, in any level, any sport, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, you're fighting for your life out there, and you're actually just trying to, get the plays right. You're trying to make sure you handle situations in a certain way. But as you grow in your job, that's why an official really doesn't reach, in my opinion, and people could say disagree, but I really stick with this. A referee doesn't really come into his own until at least after 10 years in the league. Not 2 or 3 years, not 4 or 5. I truly believe you start getting it, or at least I start getting it after my 10th year, and that included making, relationships with players. And as you get older, Scott, these players who were once people you were, say, refereeing and so on, are now coaches. And this is what happens in all the sports. They seem to get into the coaching aspect, and you develop that relationship as you go along in time. So it takes time. It's not just a matter of going out and saying, well, I want to be a friend of this person or try to get a good relationship. It takes time of the games, situations, of them trusting you as an official, of you giving them, the respect as they give you. So it takes a lot. It just doesn't happen overnight. But I agree with Curry. When you do develop that type of rapport, it does help during situations that can occur during a game.
Well, I'll tell you a real quick funny story because I was a basketball guy growing up, and I went out to California to visit a friend of mine who was on the Enterprise, which was the largest ship in the world at the time. And when I got out there, I went on. This was 6,500 people on the ship, and they asked me to referee a game between the officers and the enlisted men. And I'll tell you what,
oh, wow.
I thought I respect you so much because I thought they were going to throw me off the ship at one time. For the mistakes I was making and making bad calls. But
good thing Steve was on a court.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Steve, and also this is going to affect baseball too. Real quick, we got a few more minutes left. Baseball now is going to have computerized balls and strikes. I know you were into baseball before you started basketball.
Yeah, I know. I read about that. I think it's at South Atlantic League or something like that. They're going to have robots, but they're going to have the plate umpire behind home plate who hears what the robot says or the whatever. You know what? It's amazing. The people they pay the tens of millions of dollars to, they don't expect perfection. But the person who is making the calls, trying to do the best they can, and probably has the highest percentage call accuracy, they want them to be perfect.
Right.
And it's like, no, it's not. We're not going to be perfect. Guess what? Our percentage of call accuracy is going to be a lot higher than a shooting percentage or a batting average. Can you imagine if an umpire only got like 1/3 out of his calls right.
Right.
Where if you hit 1/3, right, 333, you're in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
All right, Steve. Listen, man, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy weekend. You down the shore right now?
I'm down the shore right now. Marielle and I are enjoying this beautiful weekend. I'll let her know you said hello.
Tell
Billy.
Mary Ellen I said hello. We're asking about her. And Steve, thank you so much, and we really appreciate you. And thanks for being a friend of the show.
Thanks, Billy. Scott, nice talking to you also, brother.
You
Talk
too,
to you guys
Steve.
soon.
There's Steve Javie. What a class guy. What a great guy,
super guy.
Scooter.